Welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrombone, CEO of the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure today to have one of our board members, Eric Kiehn. Eric is a dynamic entrepreneur and business leader who's currently the CEO and owner of C&W Technologies. And I wouldn't even attempt to go into what he does and the things that he does. And the reasons he is here is to tell us about his business and what he does and anything else you may want us to know about you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking
Joe.
the time. I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
And the drive up here.
Drive up here was interesting. Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
So what I usually like to do, and a lot of times I know, but our viewers don't. So
Yeah.
how did you get in? How did you end up in Stuart? How did you end up in Martin County?
That's actually kind of interesting. I've been in Stuart, Martin County since 1979.
Yeah, I know you did.
And it was, we actually started visiting. My family started visiting, bought some property up here, or down here actually. I came from the Melbourne area, back in 1976. And so we started visiting, fishing, spending some time on the property, that type of thing. And in '79, the whole family moved down here, and so we that's how we got down here.
Where were you in '79? Were you in school then? Or
I had just graduated high school.
Okay.
So, and I was in that mode of I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. I didn't know which, if I was going to, where I was going to go with college and so forth. So I ended up at what was back then IRCC, Indian River Community College,
right.
Which got me into going down, different paths of instruction. And it was funny because I actually was going into architecture, building construction architecture. Actually, that was my, the direction I was going. And they had just introduced some computer classes. I was required to take a data processing course. And I took the data processing course, and it was fine. I liked it. And they put us into some programming. At the very last day, they allowed us to do some custom programming. And I just sat there in the lab, and I was just doing one program after the next. And I said, I know what I want to do.
Hit your niche, huh?
I know what I want to do. I went up and signed up for every course that they had through the summer session to get into programming, and that's how I got into the technology field. Started out as a programmer, and IRCC was the impetus that gave me that initial basic training to get me into it, which is now IRSC.
And they always had a really good standing amongst community colleges forever.
Yeah, they have.
And then Dr. Massey took it to, I guess, number one, wasn't it? Number one community college.
They finally got that that coveted award as far as community or state college at that point. But it took them a long time to get there. But they had always been quite good, and they've been always highly ranked throughout the country, for that matter.
And when you at least I felt like, where else, Dr. Massey, like you said, so you're saying, where else could it go? Dr. Moore,
he's a
dynamo.
Taking that to that absolute next level,
thinks
which is
so out of the box,
Yeah.
and of course, I think if you go back and look at successful entrepreneurs or successful people, they all think outside the box.
Yeah.
It's not, and that's what makes them special. And he blew me away because Dr. Massey and I knew Dr. Massey and Dr. Massey was appointed president of IRSC in '89 when I was appointed president of the chamber.
Yeah.
So the first event I went to was at Indian River, or IRP.
Yeah.
It was the United Way thing.
Right.
And that's where I met Dr. Massey.
Yeah.
And he said to me at that point, when I told him I was just taking over the chamber, he said, we've neglected the campus in Martin County. We're going to do something there.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he lived up to his word. So he was my hero. I thought
Well, it's a really good point, because I remember when I went to sign up for some courses, I was in this old derelict building that was on US 1 to sign up for the courses, and I was like thinking, maybe this wasn't the best idea to go. As it turned out, I ended up taking most of my courses at the at the main campus, as it was called back then. And I really like what Dr. Moore's doing with the idea that there is no main campus anymore. Mm-hmm. It's spread out across across the campuses, and there's a lot of innovation that he's showing. And to your point, business needs to be innovative. And change over time as things change, whether it's an educational institution or what we do, and what we started off with eventually in 1985. So we're going on our 38th year this year. Wow. This is going to be our 38th year in business. And to me, it seems like yesterday. In fact, I wrote a little note to my team this morning, about the kind of the next frontier of where we are planning to head to, because, and I'm just as excited about the next frontier as I was back when I first started the business, and it was this original PCs. It was actually before I actually got opened up the business and the companies I worked for before. It was just in the early days of PCs, early days of IBM computers, Apple, all those systems. So, and yet I'm just as excited about the opportunities that are coming along right now as I was back then, and that's 38, plus 38 years since then, and it's really amazing. We're in an environment that when you're dealing with technology, that there is something always coming out new. You don't have to grab everything. Just pick the things that are going to be useful.
I mean, it's not even daily; it's hourly, isn't it?
Sometimes
it seems like
sometimes it is.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. We're the ones who try to keep up with it. And our focus on our business has always been trying to take care of often the individual and small business, and now we're more focused now on the small to mid-sized business, not only regionally here but actually across the state, and we have clients across the country as well. So
wow,
yeah. So
how does that happen? Word of mouth?
Word of mouth, largely marketing to some extent, but a lot of times we've helped businesses expand and grow. And we've just expanded and grown with them. So when a business grew outside of this immediate area, and they went into Orlando or Pensacola or South Carolina,
so they just took you along.
They just took us along. And the technology has changed over the years, so it's made it so much easier for us to manage and maintain and implement systems across the country. We don't necessarily have to go on site. We actually took one site that was up in Indiana. We've to this day we've never set foot in the site. We've seen some Google pictures of the site, but we actually deployed full server networking infrastructure management and all the rest of it for a site that was that needed to be completely revamped, and never visited, never even went to the site. So
wow.
You can do a lot of
technology
things.
Today is so it's so I just this is really interesting. It was a trivia question. Just within the last few days, I saw this, and it said how, and I don't remember, but the essence of the question was, how much did the first computer ever in operation weigh? 500 or 5 pounds, 20 pounds, or 10 tons?
Mm-hmm.
It was 10 tons.
Yep, 10 tons. Yeah.
Can you imagine it? Look what we're...
Yeah, I know. Our cell phones have more computing power than actually many desktops. People wonder why a cell phone costs $700 or $900. Yeah. It's a computer. It is a full-fledged computer. In fact, I've got I just got a new Ford F-150 Lightning. And people ask, well, why did you get that? You about EVs and all that. I said, it's a computer on wheels. I mean, I couldn't resist the computer on wheels, and it really is. Technology is fun for us. It's been fun for me, and it's fun for my team. And we've built the team over the years. And I have long-term people that have been with me for
How many
many
employees
years.
do you have?
We really have currently about 16 of people that are either employed or direct hire, direct consultant hires that work only for us. We are actually in the process of looking for another. And we are, which is typical of most businesses
Yes,
in this
which is a good
environment.
thing.
It's a good thing, and we are. But for instance, my operations manager, she started out as my receptionist about 36 years ago. And she is now my operations manager. I call her my number one from Star Trek parlance, because she can tell me honestly, which way is up, even when I'm saying something differently. And
Well, that's the same with my staff.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes.
So, and that's also a good thing.
It makes
but
a
that's
huge
great
difference.
when you were able to take and promote
Yes.
from within.
Yes.
Not only is it a good feeling for that person, but you've got that continuity,
Yeah.
the history.
Yeah.
You new hire.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this a short time ago. New hires are expensive.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Because there's that learning curve. It's truly and
Mm-hmm.
it can take year
It
or
takes
more.
some time. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
people don't get it how important it is to hold on to the help that you've got.
Yeah.
Treat them right. Pay them.
Well, that's an interesting thing about because I'm in a lot of other business
I
organizations
know you are.
as well.
I'm going to go there in a minute.
And when I talk to people and they say, "Well, I just can't hire anybody," I sometimes when I'm talking to them, I find that Martin County has changed. From the old days, where the pricing structure or the pay structure isn't the same as it used to be, and sometimes I think they have a hard time finding people because they're stuck in that old pay structure, and you can find good people who have been actually going south to work, for instance, who if you change your pay structure, they won't go south anymore. You don't have to match a Palm Beach County pay structure, but you do have to be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But they live in Martin County.
Sure.
There's great talent in Martin County. Some of it is going out of town to work.
60% of our population goes out of the county to work.
Yeah, it's a large number.
Yeah.
And there is and we're working to change that and improve it. And it's business like mine and the chambers and the business that are involved in the chambers are making an effort to be relevant and to be in to be able to stay and support Martin County and the people who live in Martin County. So I think we're seeing a lot of. I think we're beginning to see a change. There's a change in attitude.
I agree totally.
And a change in a little bit of the pay structure too.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the now minimum wage.
Yeah.
So,
I have to say I have not paid. I have not paid the minimum wage for a long time.
Well, that's why you have.
And the reality is, if somebody is doing a good job for you, pay them well. Because to your point, if you have to keep on trying to replace, it costs you so much more money than it does to get somebody who's going to stay with you for years.
And aside from the money, it's the knowledge.
Yep.
The background of your employee with their knowledge base and things
Yep.
of that nature. So it's not just the money. There's
Yeah.
a whole lot of things that
Yeah.
I know you get that. So
Right.
I want to ask you about your industry first, but talk a little bit about. Well, let's go here first. What do you see in your industry? And I just said, it changes sometimes daily.
Yeah.
So do you see any major shift or something new, innovative coming?
Yes. Mm-hmm. the big new innovative thing, and it's getting all the press at the moment, is AI, artificial intelligence.
Gosh, yes, yeah.
It's finally kind of escaped into the public domain there of people being aware of it. It's been out there for a while. But it's now actually becoming accessible. And so AI is the big shift. Now, large corporations, the Fortune 500s and so forth, have already been dabbling and working with AI for some time. And they've been implementing it and putting it in place. It's beginning to become available for the smaller business, and we are actually trying to. In fact, I was just at a meeting where I demonstrated some of the AI capabilities now, and and our goal is to be able to implement and be able to provide a way that AI can be used in the small to mid-sized business cost effectively. We've been using AI for a while. Primarily in the marketing arena, but we are actually trying to expand that into other areas and other segments of what a business does day in and day out. Because we like to look at ourselves as being a full-function IT company. We become your IT department. Most small to mid-sized businesses can't afford
it,
to have one person that they're paying to do all their IT, and then if they can't afford it, that person is usually limited to just their knowledge of operations and making certain parts work. We, with a larger team, can be able to have somebody who's a little bit more specialized in the networking side or the AI side or some other special area, cloud computing. And that gives a business the ability to leverage our knowledge to be able to implement it for their environment, what works best for them, and not have to pay the huge prices for that. But kind of getting back to AI is the next revolution.
Okay, so
yeah.
where you're involved in the Economic Council or the BDB, right?
Both. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the chamber. So,
yes.
And I don't know how you do it as busy as you are, but and congratulations and thank you for doing that. So, with those nonprofits who are not for profit, as you know, where do you see how could that help the chamber? What could it do to improve what we do?
Yeah. So right now, what's most readily and easily available for the smaller business, nonprofits, etc., is the marketing side of AI. So there are you can use AI right now for free that you can help leverage your marketing content. For instance, blogs. Okay, takes a lot of effort and time to put together a blog properly, talking about information about what you're doing and what's going on in the community, for instance, or in your business. And you can leverage AI to be able to develop a blog and a consistent blog on a regular basis. You can take that further into other aspects of marketing. And I'm using marketing as an example because that's probably the easiest gateway for small business and nonprofits to get into at the moment.
That's what we do.
Yeah, and they do a lot of it. Or small business often doesn't do enough marketing that they should, and it's usually a cost barrier, time barrier, and that's where the AI can help you reduce that time barrier in being able to get content out. Everything is about content, and then that goes into the social media content, which AI can help you fulfill as well.
Well, I don't know how good a job our staff is doing, but I'm technically challenged, so I just barely know how to spell blog.
Yeah. So,
but I think the staff is doing it, doing some of it, because we had 1,100 views on LinkedIn last week.
Yeah.
I follow that. So usually we're 500 or 600, 700. But I'm noticing more when I go on LinkedIn. I see, there's a chamber event.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Right.
So the staff is doing that.
Right.
But I was amazed. 1,100 and some hits in a week.
Yeah.
To visit our site, that's incredible.
Yeah. And to be able to provide that content out there, that's where AI can help the team, the staff, to be able to fill in those gaps. And there are applications when you may have to pay for some of those applications, which will take that AI, develop that content for you, and then automatically post it so that it gets out there on a regular basis. And that's a key piece about marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing is, and I learned this many years ago the hard way. Often is like you try marketing and you try it for a couple months or even a few weeks and you see nothing happening, and then you say, "Oh, that was a waste of money." And marketing is a building process. It takes time, and you have to go on.
You can't run one ad and expect to get a result.
Exactly.
I learned that a long time ago.
So that's one area that it could help, but it could help in other areas too as it develops and as there are more applications coming out. The caution I want to put out there is that because it is the hot topic at the moment in the technology and other fields, there is so many things coming out that are coming out and saying, "Oh, we have AI." They take their name and they tack AI at the end of it, and a lot of it is the same thing that's always been going on previously. It is not necessarily AI. So you have to be a little bit cautious about that, whether it's really.
There's always a scammer.
The scams are beginning to come out too. I'm seeing the text about the how to get rich quick by using AI, and we have the latest AI. Oh, and it's always worrisome when they say this is not a pyramid scheme.
You can bet it is.
Yeah, probably is.
Eric, thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate it. We ran out of time.
Yep.
But thank you so much. I appreciate. I know you're busy, and I don't know how you keep up with your own schedule, but thank you for taking the time out to come up here today.
I have a great team that allows me to do this, so I really appreciate it, and I appreciate being able to come up here and talk to you about this. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.